Hi everyone, this is BK from CocoZini. Welcome to my channel. Today's tutorial is going to be on a new pattern by McCalls. So it's McCalls 8169 and it's on face cover. And I think McCalls just released the pattern just because of the COVID-19 face mask situation. So they call theirs a face cover. If you want to download the pattern, I'm going to put a link to their website down below so you can just go there and download it. Otherwise, you can just sew along with me because I'm just going to do the same thing that they have on that pattern, and I'm actually going to do two different types of the face cover. In their pattern, they advise to use 1/8 elastic, but I doubt if you will find that anywhere online because I have tried and I can't find any. But anyways, I have a little one that I think I have left behind from all the masks I have done lately, and I'm going to use it for that pattern. And also I'm going to show you another way of sewing the pattern using a bias tape or a bias tape that you make by yourself. You can make it by yourself, using a 2-inch wide fabric with a 13-inch long. But anyways, I'll show you how to do that once I get to that part. If you're new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe. And if you're a returning subscriber, thank you for stopping by. So let's get started. Go grab your material. Actually, I'll tell you what materials to use once we get started. From the instruction given to us on the pattern, you will need 7¾ inches long and 7½ inches wide fabric, and also lining. Because I'm going to show you two versions of this, my second version is going to have straps. So on the strap, you're going to cut out 4 straps, which you will use as a bias tape, and it's 13 inches long with 2 inches wide. That is for the second version I'm going to be showing you. This version is not on the pattern. I just created it because 1/8 and 1/4 inch elastic are very hard to find now. The elastic that is given to us on the pattern says you have to use 1/8 of an inch elastic that is 7 inches long. So the second version that I'll be making, I'm going to set that apart for now, and let's go with the exact version that they have on the pattern. With your fabric up, right side facing up, and also the lining, you've cut out the same amount of the fabric and the lining. You could use the same lining, the same fabric for your lining too, but I'm doing otherwise just to show you what it's going to look like or the difference in this tutorial. So I'm grabbing my elastic, which is 7 inches long, and I measured out 1 inch from the top. I'm going to secure the elastic on it, and this is on the main fabric with the right side facing up. Then I'm going to go ahead and measure 1 inch from the bottom, and I'm going to secure the end of the elastic onto the bottom of the fabric. So I'm just going to push it forward so you can see it better here. Yeah, go ahead and secure the other end of the elastic. Then we will go ahead and do the same to the other side of the fabric. If you want to, you can go ahead and use a basting stitch to hold on to the elastic after you get done securing the elastic on the fabric. Or you can just do what I did here. Just go along with me, pin it down, put the lining on top of it, and just sew it around. I'm going to go ahead and pin the elastic to the other side of the fabric. Once you get done, grab your lining and just place it on top. Make sure you align the edges, make sure you align top with the 7.5 side. So what we're going to do, we're going to leave 2 inches open while we're going to just sew around the fabric, like so. Okay, so you can start from one end and then finish at the other end, but just make sure you have 2 inches open. Do not sew everything all together. Make sure you have a 2-inch open. So I'm securing both the lining and the fabric together with a pin, so it wouldn't shift while I'm sewing it together using 1/4 inch seam allowance. Here is what it looks like after I got done sewing it. So I did stitch it around with 1/4 inch seam allowance, and I'm right there. That is the beginning of the stitch and the end of the stitch with an opening, and that's the opening. So before we go ahead, we're going to cut the edges so it wouldn't be bulky while we're turning it around or turning it inside out. So I'm going to cut out the 4 edges of the face cover. Be very careful that you're cutting it close to your stitch and not through your stitch. Then you go back to the opening. Then you're going to go ahead and push out the right side of the fabric like I'm doing here. When you're done, here is what it's going to look like. You can use an iron to flatten it out. Okay, then the opening, we're just going to push it in with a 1/4 inch seam. I'm going to use a pin to secure it, like so. So from the top of the fabric, you right there is you measure 1.5 inches, then you kind of pinch it out, then pull it in like I just did. So those are pleats. We're going to have 3 pleats on the face cover according to the instruction of the pattern. So that is my first pleat. I'm going to go ahead and secure it with a pin. I'm securing both sides with a pin. Like that. Then once again, you kind of measure another 1 inch, then pull it in to make the second pleat, like I just did here. Then I'm going to secure my second pleat. At the both sides of the face cover. Then now we're going to do the last pleat. Also, you measure 1 inch, then pinch it in like I'm doing right now, then push it out like that. And I'm going to secure it with the pin too. Like I'm doing right now. So you're having 3 pleats on the face mask. And if you want to do it, you can just use a basting stitch to secure it right away. But what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and give it an edge stitch all around like that. So I'm just going to go around and give it an edge stitch. I will be right back when I get done. So that's it. That's the tutorial on the McCall 8169 face cover pattern. You can go ahead and stitch around the edges again just to secure it. But this is what it looks like after I got done with the pattern. The only thing that I have as a critic on this pattern is that the 7¾ that they use as the length of the mask should have been 8½. So it will make it a little bit longer because this is very, very short. So we're going to move to the next one. So if you don't have any elastic, here is what you can do. With the right side facing up and your lining on top, we're going to kind of do the same thing that we did with the first face mask. But this time around, let's grab those straps. So if you have a bias tape, you can use your bias tape for this. But because I just want to use the same fabric for my straps, I'm going to make my own bias tape, which is going to be a strap. So you fold it into two like I just did earlier. Then once again, you fold the edges into the middle to meet in the middle like that. Okay, so you can use your iron to hold those lines. But because it's not too long, I'm just going to use my hand to kind of straighten it. Like so. Then we're going to fold it in one more time. Like that. So I'm just going to use pins to just hold it. Then I'll take it to the machine and stitch it with half an inch seam allowance. That's it. I'm going to do the same to the remaining 3 straps. I have done the 4 straps and here they are. So I'm going to take out the lining, and also that's the fabric with the right side facing up. We're going to repeat the same thing we did with the elastic at the first face mask that we did. So we measure 1 inch from the top, then we're going to pin down a strap, edge of the strap. Then we're going to do the same thing down. We measure 1 inch from the bottom, and we're going to pin down the strap. We're going to do the same thing to the other side of the fabric. So make sure everything is in the middle before you put your lining on top of it, because if you're not careful, you will mistakenly sew the edges of those straps, and the outcome is not going to be good. That means you have to take it all out and redo it again. So I'm putting the lining on top of it like we did in the first mask, and I'm also going to make sure that I see my straps are all over the place and they are sticking out. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to fold it in properly and secure it that way so it doesn't mess around. I think it's well secured this way. Yes, it is. So I'm going to start spinning around just to hold the lining into the fabric. I'm going to pin the 4 sides. Then I'm going to go ahead to the machine and sew it at 1/4 inch seam allowance, and also make sure you leave the 2 inches spacing in between there. That will allow for us to turn the fabric out. So go ahead and stitch around, and remember to leave 2 inches opening. I have finished stitching it around, and I have my opening right there. That's a quarter of an inch, same allowance. Then I'm going to do the same thing like we did in the first face mask. We're going to pull it out. So we're pulling the right side of the fabric out, like so. I'm done pulling it out. So if you have an iron, you can just go ahead and flatten it with an iron. You know what is happening here? My edges are not poking out, so I'm just going to use a pin to push the edges out. You know the reason why this happened? Because I forgot to trim the four corners like I did in the first face mask. Then I'm going to push in the opening with quarter of an inch and secure it with a pin. So here's what it looks like. So we're going to do the pleats like we did in the first face mask. So we're going to measure 1 inch and a half, then pinch it and push it in to make a pleat like I just did. Then secure to the two sides with a pin, just like we did in the first face mask. Okay, then we're going to measure 1 inch, then we'll pinch it open like so and push it all the way down, not all the way down, but push it down to make another pleat. Then we'll secure it with another pin, two sides with a pin. Then we're going to do the third pleat, just like we did the first two. Then secure it with a pin. So I'm going to take it to the machine and I will sew around the edges, and I can do this like twice just to secure the straps. And here is what it looks like after I got done making the mask or sewing it around. So that's the end of the tutorial. And if you have any question, please leave it down below. If this is helpful, don't forget to give me a thumbs up and subscribe to see more tutorials from me. And again, the critique I have on this pattern is that it should be longer than this. This is more like a teenager's size. So for adults, I suggest that they use 8.5 inches instead of 7 3/4. Until the next time, stay blessed and stay safe. Bye-bye.